All right, my name is Tom Söderlund. I'm a producer here at Paradox Interactive, and I'm working with all our third-party titles, which includes Majesty 2.
Okay, so Majesty 2. For those that didn't play the original game, can you just shortly describe?
Well, if you haven't played the original Majesty, you have missed a great game. But in essence, Majesty is about, it's a real-time strategy game, but it's indirect control. So you have a number of units, heroes actually, but they have a will of their own. So you have to motivate them with monetary incentives in order to get them to do what you want. And the other element that is core to the Majesty franchise is humor. It pokes fun of the sort of fantasy genre as such. A lot of references to Monty Python and popular culture and so on. Majesty 2 takes place a few hundred years after the original game, and a number of kings has passed since you were the original Majesty of the kingdom Ardania. And but then came a king called Leonard, and he really messed things up. He summoned a demon which overpowered him and took over the kingdom. So when you turn up to take the role as the new Majesty for Majesty 2, the kingdom Ardania is ruled by this demon, and you have to take it back piece by piece. The story behind why Paradox did the sequel to Majesty was Paradox Interactive has always been focused on strategy games, and we actually posted on the Paradox forum to our users which of older strategy games that they would like to see a new version of, and Majesty was one of the top suggestions, and we contacted the publisher and developer of the original game called Cyberlore in the US, and the brand was available, and we proposed to them, sort of had a suggestion for what we wanted to do with the game, and they got excited, and we got the brand, and now we're working on the sequel.
How close have Paradox been working to the original developers?
Actually, the development of Majesty 2 is done with a separate team. It's developed by a developer called Inoko, based in Krasnodar in the south of Russia. But we worked closely with members of the original Majesty team, including George Ledoux, who did all or most of the voiceovers for the original game. We're working with him in the sequel as well, and also Brian Johnson, who worked on the original game. He's helping us out to make sure that the Majesty 2 world is sort of consistent with the original Majesty world.
What's new compared to the original game?
Well, there's a ton of small differences between Majesty 2 and the original game, but I will highlight a few of them, the most important ones. And they are multiplayer. Now you can play not only against the computer, but you can play up to 4 players against each other. And then we've modified the core gameplay mechanic of flags a bit. So in the original game you had the exploration flag and the attack flag, but now you also have the protect flag to protect buildings of your own, and you have the fear flag if you want to sort of prevent your heroes for going in certain areas. You can use the fear flag. But then the immediate difference for anyone who played Majesty 1 is that we have sort of taken the game to this century, sort of with new graphics, modern AI, better sound, all that.
Anything we should know about the monsters that our heroes are up against?
Well, similar to the heroes, some of them are old, and you'll recognize them from the original Majesty game, and some of them are new. But all the usual suspects are there. So we have the bears, the ratmen, dragons, and so on. But there's a few new monsters as well, and one of my favorites are the lava elemental and the earth elemental, which are big, rocky monsters that just float around and cause mayhem.
So you mentioned multiplayer. What can you tell us about the multiplayer mode?
Well, Majesty 2 allows you to play up to 4 people, against each other over a local network or across over the internet. We're using the GameSpy arcade system to enable matchmaking and players to find each other. And we hope also to have online high scores and tournaments and stuff like that. And also with the game, we bundle a number of multiplayer maps that are sort of specifically designed for multiplayer battles.
Will there be modding possibilities with Majesty 2?
Yes, there seems to be a big interest from the by judging from our forums and so on modding Majesty 2. So yeah, there will be a modding kit. It will be released as an expansion. With the name we have right now is called Adventure Maker, and it will come a bit after the release of the game. But it will allow you to create your own maps. That's pretty simple. But you can also create your own battle units if you are more skilled with 3D animation tools and so on.
So are there any changes regarding heroes in Majesty 2?
Yes, absolutely. There's quite a few changes to heroes compared to how it was in Majesty 1. A lot of the original heroes remain, but some are gone, and there are a few new ones as well. The biggest change is actually that you can upgrade heroes. So warriors can become blade masters, and rangers can become marksmen, for instance. And these upgrades become available later in the game when you can build temples in your kingdom.
So are there big differences between the heroes in Majesty?
Absolutely, there are very big differences. Everything from very powerful, almost brutish characters like the warrior or the blade master, to more nimble but clever characters like the cleric, and which are, in the beginning, they are so weak that you might have to protect them using the protect flag in the game in order for them not being killed too early on.
But is it worth it to have that kind of weak characters?
It is, because as the clerics upgrade or they level up, they become more and more powerful and eventually become a very essential part of your hero force. The different heroes have different personalities, and some of the hero classes are actually incompatible with each other. So for instance, you shouldn't put dwarves and elves in the same team because they won't get along very well, and small things like that.
Your kingdom awaits you, sire.